Welcome to episode 116 of the Card Diary by Hobbyist Thompson. I am your host, Denny Cards. And before I introduce today's very special guest, I want to say, before you listen to this episode, stop right here and first go listen to the podcast episode from Cards to the Moon, where they interview today's guest. Because my plan with this short, it's going to go by so quick, 20 minutes that we have with today's guest is not to repeat the same questions and have the same conversation, which, by the way, we're absolutely fantastic because I love the Cards to the Moon guys over there. But my plan is to augment and add on top of their already great interview. So, after you do that, please come back to this one. So, okay. So I just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to say, Lance, normally I like to do a deep dive for my guests and their history and their background. But today we don't have the luxury of a lot of time, just 20 minutes. So I prepared an intro. And so that means I actually did research for this podcast, which is like it's never happened before in the history of my podcast.
Oh my God, I'm actually quite nervous. This is like,
You
this is
ready?
your life.
All right.
It's a eulogy I'm alive for. This is great.
No. It's super short. I did not do I didn't go to the hospital you were born in, interview
Yeah.
the doctors and the nurse. But here we go, and you can let me know if I missed anything. Okay, so today's guest, he is the CEO of Fanatics Fest and was the president and founder of Reed Pop. He attended the University of the District of Columbia, so he's familiar with the DMV, which is where I'm from, and that's where the podcast studio is. But you may be asking, because I just read past it real quick, what is Reed Pop? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It helped produce some of the biggest conventions, such as New York Comic Con, Emerald City Comic Con, Complex Con, Star Wars Celebration, and PAX, the latter of which my good friend actually attended in Boston, and he listens to this podcast, and he said it was fantastic. It is for gamers. I used to game before I got back into the hobby, but I am so glad to have on, Lance Fensterman. Oh, I got a little bit more. Since becoming Fanatics Fest CEO, he and his team, because it's not just him, it takes the whole team. He and his team created WWE World at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. Same with WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. And last year, the much heralded inaugural Fanatics Fest at the Javits Convention Center. And I think we are, if my math is correct, we're about 22 days away from the start of Fanatics Fest at the time of recording. Reed, thank you for coming on to the podcast. And the first question I have for you is, did I forget anything in your intro?
No, other than born in Fargo, North Dakota, and grew up in Minnesota, hence the twin sign behind me. So I can't help it. I'm a Minnesota sports guy, but I'm super excited to be here. I think as we talk, like my past life in building pop culture fan conventions, there's a lot of parallels between the hobby specifically and what we're trying to build in Fanatics Fest, and really just catering to fans and catering to collectors is the through line in my career.
I love it. So we are going to get to that because I want to talk about the similarities and differences between convention attendees and Comic Con, and for Fanatics Fest, at least with the one data point that you guys currently do have. But I do have to ask, because I'm a basketball guy, are you also a Timberwolves fan or just the Twins and Vikings?
I am a Wolves fan, and I will
Okay.
say this: I'm a bit of a bandwagon guy
Okay.
because I was like in seventh grade when they joined the league as an expansion team. Because I
Yep.
remember, because we all got to submit like ideas for what their name and mascot should
Yeah.
be, right? And the
Yeah.
Timberwolves ended up winning, but then they were awful for like 2 decades, so I
Yes.
didn't really pay much attention. But this team, last year's team, and this year's team have been, I mean, great. They made it to the Western Conference
Yeah.
Finals, which is a huge feat for Minnesota team, but
Yes.
also they're just a really interesting team. And the
Yeah.
like ballsy trade they made with the Knicks in the offseason was
Mhm.
just like fearless, and like they're just fun. Nas Reed, come on, like in Minnesota they use Nas Reed as a greeting. Like you'd be walking down the street and be like, Nas Reed, nice day today. Like it's just a great team. So bummer to see them lose, but I think they lost to the best team in the league. OKC is just
I think they're going to win the whole
so
thing.
good.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
going to win the whole thing this year. And so we are recording this the day after that the 4-1 series loss for the Timberwolves, so their season does come to an end. And I'm sure they did all the exit interviews and all that. But it means Anthony Edwards is coming to. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna announce him to come to Fanatics Fest, but no, I'm sure he's got some other things that are going on. But I am so happy to have you today, and I don't want to make this into a basketball podcast. We are going to dive into some of the questions that not only do I have from myself, but my kids actually asked some questions. I asked some people on Instagram to ask some questions. So I don't want to make this into a strict Q&A, but I am going to try to keep adhere to the time frame that we have.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first thing I did want to ask you, and it comes from one of my kids, and it's perfect for after your intro, is like, what inspired you to get into this, into convention planning? Because it's like you're throwing a big party. You're like a show promoter, but you have a big, huge team, and you have this huge, amazing, beautiful facility at Javits. And I mean, you've done that, and you've done Comic-Con, and you've done all these other cons. Like, what got you into it?
It's a really interesting question because I didn't set out to do it. I kind of fell into it by seeing an opportunity and pursuing it. And so I think the deeper question is like, why did I keep doing it? Right? Like we all kind of end up like, oh, I just, I don't know, I knew a guy, he worked there, so I went and joined. But why did I stay and why have I done it for almost, whatever now, 2 decades? And I think it's about fans and it's about bringing people together and giving them a place to belong, a place to celebrate, a place to have fun. And at its most core, I genuinely enjoy making other people happy. Like that's what's fun to me. And so when I think about, what I could do or could have done or might be doing, I take a great deal of pride in the fact that for 2+ decades, I have built fun for other people. That's what I
I
do,
I
right?
love that. I love that. And I think it was a great question from my son because, kids love to learn, what do people do and how do they, it's almost like learning about people's biographies or trying to figure out, oh, do I want to do that? Do I want to try that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very much of a people pleaser. I'm like, I'm trying to get better with trying to, not just always think about other people, but yes, I totally get what you mean. Just having a great time, setting up parties and all that. So that's awesome.
And I think
Um,
like
mhm,
honestly, like if you were to like go deeper, it's not even necessarily about the medium, right? It's not about like is it cards or Star Wars or street culture and complex con or it's like sure, like all those things are interesting, but it's not about my fandom into any of those specific areas. It's
mhm,
my fandom towards fans. It's
yeah.
my fandom towards people that are passionate and want to gather and celebrate the things they love and being able to facilitate that in some way I think is meaningful and has value in the world we live in, and I feel like it's a privilege to be able to do it.
It sounds to me that you're a fan of fandom.
Completely, totally,
I
because
love
like
that.
I mean, like I'm certainly not a fan of every stripe of popular culture that I represented at New York Comic Con, like
Mhm.
right, like but I was a fan of those fans and that fandom, so well
Gotcha.
said.
Awesome. Awesome. So, in the interview with Carson Moon, you mentioned how there's like similarities, and the similarities were also kind of like the differences between the sports card side of the house of the big house we call the hobby versus the Pokemon TCG side or like the Comic Con sides. You mentioned how both fan bases are very passionate. They also are sometimes resistant to change, or you have to explain the change for there to be buy-in, right? So it was a great episode and an interview. And again, if you haven't listened to it, you got to pause and you got to go and then come back to this. But I did want to ask you a follow up to that question, which is like, what are like some actual tangible differences from those two bases that you're encountering when you are trying to set up the logistics of this? Because I know, Comic Con, for an example, I just wanted to add, like, there, Pikachu. I mean, I guess you could have Pikachu, someone wearing a Pikachu costume signing autographs, but you don't have Pikachu signing autographs. You don't have Charizard there taking photos with kids, although maybe you could. But having said that, you have the actual athletes, right, in
Yeah.
the sports side of the hobby. So, I just wanted to kind of tease that in a little bit to say like what are some similarities and actual differences between the show itself, the vendors, the attendees. I'll let you go wherever you want
Yeah.
with that.
I think like one of the key differences is that sports fandom, historically has been very tribal, right? Like you are a fan of a team. Yeah, I get it. You may, then venture into a player or a player that used to be on your team that's on another team and you followed that and stayed with that player as a fan. But by and large, your fandom is tribal. It is team based. And I think that's a major difference between like other pop culture conventions. And you may look at Star Wars and say, "Oh, I love Bosk." I had a friend who was big into Mandalorian bounty hunters, right? But that didn't mean that's all she cared about. She cared about the entire universe of Star Wars, and then was particularly like fond of, Bosks and Mandalorian bounty hunters. Great. In sports, like if you're a hardcore Yankees fan, do you want to sit in the audience and see Big Papi talking about what it was like to break the curse? Do you care? Like, or is that something you'd be like, I'm not going to that? And so I think one thing that is unique about what Fanatics Fest is it's not to a sport and it's not to a team or a singular tribe. It is all of sports and sports culture and entertainment
Mm,
together in one place. And so I think then our challenge is, how do you create content and programming and moments that weaves lots of different pieces together that can break down that sort of fiefdom, tribe, single team mindset and be like, I had an amazing experience and I saw things I wasn't expecting. I experienced things I wasn't expecting that were outside of my kind of singular focus around a sport. And I think that's the challenge and part of what makes the experience we have created at Fanatics Fest special.
I love that answer, but the thing I would add to that is I think that you are maybe discounting how much people love to hate. Like it's like Yankees fans would go see David Ortiz because they want to see him
They
stumble. They
would,
want to see him
yeah,
say
right.
something bad. They want to boo him. They want to razz him and get under his skin. I mean, that's like the tribalism. That's a great answer. I love that answer. There's no, I mean, there's no, you don't have Charizard and Pikachu fans like going at it and yelling at each
Yeah.
other at a
Yeah.
convention. But yeah,
The
that's awesome.
closest I get is like Marvel DC, you know what I mean? Like in the
Ooh.
comics world, like that does exist, but still, they're all fans of comics, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's get to the numbers and let's talk about Fanatics Fest. So from again that interview that I heard, it sounds like you guys are quadrupling the size of the area, the square footage, maybe the security, the you're doubling the number of celebrities and the building, the infrastructure. Like you mentioned, all of that. So are you expecting? You're not expecting double or quadruple the number of people who attended last year, are you? Can you talk about how many attended last year and how many you anticipate this year?
yeah, so we had about 76,000 people last year.
Wow.
And right now, at this point, comparing, 3 weeks out from the show last year, we're about 100% up in our ticket sales.
Mm,
And so I think we'll end up over 100,000 fans
wow.
in the building. So that's 40-ish% up. And we do have significantly more space to accommodate that. We've got significantly more infrastructure and security. So we're ready for that audience. But it's a kind of what's the word I want? It's like a nail biting experience because like
Mm,
we still have a lot of tickets to sell, like between now and the show. And so
hmm.
this is when it happens, are these 3 weeks.
Okay.
And we'll know in 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks how it's looking. But I'm expecting over 100,000 people.
So yeah, definitely you guys do the interview circuit, the blitz, and you have a lot of people drive in. I think I know one thing that was kind of teased in that interview that has come out in the last week has been Fanatics Games. If you want to take the time to explain that and kind of help drum up interest for people who may want to travel, because
Yeah.
I imagine you guys are going to get a lot of people who are just going to on a whim, from the tri-state area, just kind of check it out.
Yes,
But you want
for
this to be
sure.
a destination thing for people too.
Absolutely. I mean, we're very happy if it's tri-state, but I think we for sure want to grow beyond, and we will grow beyond. But Fanatic Games is sort of an insane idea where we're taking 50 fans and 50 athletes and streamers and influencers and entertainers, and we're pitting them against each other in like a multi-staged competition. So you're going to go from basically competition to competition. So longest drive on a simulator, a three-point shooting contest in the NBA booth, a football passing accuracy competition in the NFL booth, a slapstick accuracy shot at the NHL booth, the superstar walkout at the WWE booth. So 10 different stops with this competition that'll all be scored. It'll all be professionals, judges, referees, etc., tracking everybody's performance throughout, and the winner's going to get $1 million cash. and second place is going to get a brand new Ferrari. And then third place is getting a LeBron rookie card. So like it's a fairly amazing competition and it's legit. Like this is serious. But the most important aspect is like you can enter. Like put together a video, go to the Fanatics app, like you can enter and be one of the competitors. We've not chosen all of those 50 fans yet. And so you got a shot at this. Anybody's got a shot at this. Like make a video, post it to social, go to the app, sign up, tell us why we should choose you, and then get out there and see who you can beat. It's a pretty amazing lineup of athletes too that are going to participate. So
It really is. So when Lance says you, he is not talking about me. He's talking about you, the listener. If you want to be part of this, go ahead and download the Fanatics Fest app, put in your video, put it up to social, do whatever you need to. As a 42-year-old, middle-aged, Korean American man, my back hurts. I just thinking about driving a driver for longest, or like throwing a football. Like for me, I love the idea. I wish this existed 10 years ago, before everything has happened in my life. But I love this idea. I thought about making a video just for fun, just to kind of make it a fun little social media thing. But I am here to just let you know that I will not be applying for one of the 50 spots.
I will try and convince you. But what is kind of cool is we did design this in a way that it's not just about being athletic, right? Like you have to have a degree of athleticism, but like it's not a 40-yard dash, which we could have done in the NFL booth. It's a
Uh,
QB skills competition. So like
mm,
accuracy, not distance, right?
hmm
Not speed. Like so there are aspects here that are open to anyone. Also, out of the 8 competitions, you drop your 2 lowest scores. So you can
uh,
take the 2 most athletic scores and drop them, right? So
yeah.
there's a chance here for anybody from any walk of life or age to win this, but you've got to beat people like Jaden Daniels, Rhea Ripley, Kevin Durant, Tom Brady, Kevin Hart, Alex Rodriguez, Ron Gronkowski, James Harden, Liv Morgan, like go down the CJ Stroud. Like there's an amazing group of people that are going to participate, but I'm telling you, it is more equitable as a non-athlete than you might imagine.
If there was an eating contest component, like competitive eating, I would beat all of them except for maybe like James Harden. And sorry, that's a little shade to James Harden. Apparently, he did fake wearing a bodysuit to be traded, so maybe he's not as big as we thought. Having said that, I know some people are going to think that I have an inside shot or insider scoop in getting into these games. I am not trying to leverage this interview into that. I want to be very clear with that. I'm just happy to have you on, and I'm really excited to go. I will be very upfront. It's been really hard for me with family logistics to try to figure out whether to do this or the national. I don't know if I can do both, and that's what's kind of. I think a lot of people are. I'm not going to ask you why they should pick Fanatics Fest over the national, but I think it is a real concern some people have as to what
Yeah,
as to how what they're going to do with their summer vacation time.
totally. And I think, and I'm not, I won't answer it, but I do think they are very different events that are very complementary to each other.
Yeah.
And there's an unbelievable card show that is Fanatics Fest with everything else that comes with it:
Yes.
celebrities,
Right.
experiential content, interactive, etc., etc., etc. And if you love that big experience and an awesome card show, it's
Hmm.
for you. If you
I love it.
want nothing but hardcore buy sell trade, you're going to
Hmm.
get more of that at the national. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you have a clear choice. And I think both of them can really cater to a lot of different people and complement each other well because we respect the hell out of the national.
That's really great for you to say, because I know a lot of people try to pit you guys at odds, and it's
Yeah.
it's you guys are very good in that regard. I cannot believe we are at the 20-minute mark. This like hurts me for us to have to end this. I don't know if we can even do a lightning round of questions. I didn't even get to the Instagram
Let,
questions.
give me a lightning round. Come on, we got a couple of minutes.
All right. So, the organization of the show floor. You said you're going to spread people around. Are you spreading out is it right in the middle of the show floor? Like, what should people expect? Like clusters of tables, or
Yeah.
like
What we did is like essentially you kind of have like around the edge of
mhm,
a very big building, a very big room, are
right.
all of those leagues and big brands that are doing big activations, right? EPL and FIFA and and NFL, NHL, MLB, MLS, USTA, Nike, go on. Like they're all really kind of Dick's Sporting Goods and Raising Cane's, and their tailgate zone is all really around the
Mm,
edge. And then you've got some theaters mixed in
hmm.
and stages. And then throughout all of the rest, this is like a terrible visual, but throughout all of the rest are all of those dealers and hobby brands. So we really tried to spread them out throughout the entire show floor so that instead of going from one end where there's interactive and experiential to the other end where there's buy, sell, trade, we've really tried to like bring it all together. So think of it as like all of those brands and leagues are the chocolate, and then the nougat in the middle, that's
Mm.
the dealers and the hobby.
So you're speaking my language now. So I think this does mean that the vendors who are going really need to step up their dollar box game, because I know a lot of them last year
Yeah.
just brought high end, thinking it was going to be a high end experience, and it is. It's going to be a fun experience, but there are going to be a lot of people who are going to come up saying, "Yeah, I don't know anything about sports. I like Jaden Daniels. I just saw him. I want to have a buy something that's a representation of my experience meeting him. So I want something that's $5-10."
Yep, and the guys that did that did very, very well.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a high end audience as well, but I think
Yes.
it's about catering to people that love the hobby. It's also about onboarding people into the hobby. And that's
Yes.
something that shows like the National or the West Coast Card Show or Dallas, they don't do. It's not part of their core mission of onboarding new collectors, right? If you are a collector, these are the places that you absolutely want to be. If you don't know about the hobby, you're not really going to find those kind of shows. And if you went, it's kind of maybe a little hard to access or know what to do there. We are hoping that what this show evolves to, what Fanatics Fest becomes, is a place where you can onboard new people into the hobby. They came to do something and then they discovered the passion of collecting.
I love it. I love it. So I am going to get you out two like lightning quick questions, and there's a whole question that my wife had about how do you say technology changing or augmenting the
Mm.
experience in the next 3 to 5 years. I think I have to talk to your team about having you on after Fanatics Fest.
I'd
I
love to.
have some people who are trying to figure out, when is the Orlando or Pittsburgh Fanatics Fest going to be rescheduled. These are things that I know you guys aren't focused on right now, so I would love to have you on in the future. So the
I'll
last
talk to you
question.
at the show. If you come, we'll
Yeah.
sit down
Okay.
together. I'll do it there. I'd love to.
Awesome. So the last question I'll ask, because I think some people are really interested in this. I know there's some people who are doing like, Bleecker Trading is doing their trade night events, and they're going to make a big presence and, have people feel like that's a place that they can come after the show too. Are there any details on whether you're having a trade night again?
That's a great question. We're going to do a trade night in conjunction with a retailer, with one of
Okay.
the hobby shops. And you caught me my last question, your last question. I'm going to be like, I don't know the answer to that.
We'll
And I
stay
usually
tuned. Just
can
say
make
stay
stuff
tuned.
up pretty well. So
Yeah.
you stumped me. We
Tease me.
absolutely will have some kind of a trade component.
Yeah.
And check the website. Here's a cop out answer. Check the website for the details
There
on
you
that.
go. There you go. I mean, I hope to get this out in the next couple of days just to give as much runway space leading up to the event. But I know you are a busy man. I know you got to go. I appreciate these 20 minutes, and I will try to see you at the event. And just I wish you guys, your whole team, fantastic job last year. I wish you guys nothing but best this year, and I can't wait to see you put on a great show. Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks,
doing
man.
it.
Appreciate the time and let me know if you need anything. And I hope to see you at the show, bud.
All right. Take care. Thank you, Lance.
Thanks, man. Talk
Okay.
soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Do you need me to stay on it all while it wraps, or are we good?
Oh, no, we're good. We're good. You got to go to
Oh,
your next thing.
beautiful.
All
You're the
right. Take
man.
care.
Thanks, dude.
All right. Thanks. Okay. Bye.